We have been talking about casseroles, and this casserole has been through the process. We've seen the clay before it went on the wheel, thrown, trimmed, knobs, handles, and now we're going to put the lid on it and make it tidy. When I threw this, I measured inside of this seat or trough or galley, whatever you want to call it, and I measured the lid, and at one point they did fit. Often in the drying process, the body and the lid won't shrink the same rate for some reason, and they'll fit for a while, then they won't fit for a while, and it's about a 50-50 toss-up if it's going to fit or if it's not going to fit. I thought it was very convenient for this one, since we're making the movie, for it not to fit. And it doesn't quite fit, but that's okay. I've heard it said that if you let them dry together, and they will shrink at the same rate and they will always fit. However, more times than not when I've tried that, what happens is the lid just shrinks a little bit less than the body, and then it is crammed in there, and now you have casserole sculpture. And by the time you get it off, you've either chipped the edge off or the knob off, and casseroles don't make all that great of a sculpture. I'm going to make this fit by grinding it down. It's thrown at that curve, and as you take the bottom off, of course, it gets smaller this way, and it'll fit down in its little seat. Okay, I have the rasp, the one we made the jokes about before, and we're not going to do again. I'm going to, with the rasp, just move it along. As you take it off the bottom, it makes it shorter this way, and working with the curve, it makes it fit in there better. It doesn't quite fit. If you don't have a rasp, you can use your knife. Again, I mentioned about doing this over the garbage can. A little secret between me and you, I never do this over the garbage can. I'm not a tidy worker, and I just do it over the table. It also is quite messy and uneven. That's where the sandpaper comes in. This is 120 grit sandpaper. You don't want it too coarse because then it chips off and it bites, too much of the clay comes off, or if it's too fine of a grit, it doesn't take anything off. It's not too coarse, it's not too fine, it's just right. And at 120, I'm going to do circles. And you notice as I do this, it gets fairly thick here. So now you can, with your steak knife or your rasp, just take those edges off. And I'm just going to file away on this thing until it fits in that little seat I made it. It's just about there. We'll make it tidy on the sandpaper. Sometimes I do that. You just wiggle it around until it's almost there. And it takes as long as it takes. This one should be the one. Now it fits in there, and it just about fits, but it fits kind of like a pumpkin lid. I'm going to get rid of that. It fits kind of like a pumpkin lid where it fits this way and not that way. So I'm going to start just spinning it gently in there. If it doesn't spin, you got to watch because people want to spin. If it's really hard to spin, you can twist the knob right off. You can't put it back on and it's just darn. But you can see I'm going to get it spinning this way, and I'm going to spin the pot and the lid. Because quite often what happens when you put these handles on is it's not perfectly round anymore, and not everything I throw is perfectly round. There's a lot of pressure on perfect. I don't need that much pressure. But in doing this, you're going to get it to fit, and you can twist it back and forth. You get a nice seat on there. And once it starts to go smooth, you see I'm moving a lot of clay. And now I've got lots of clay on the inside. You want to get rid of that. And now this lid fits nicely all the way around. I'm going to give it a few more twists just to make sure. I will fire this together, and this lid will fit perfectly all the time. It's very messy now. I've got a bunch of dry clay on the inside. I'm going to just, with my sponge, tidy up that little trough there. Take all that dust. If you don't get all the dust out of there now, it bisques and it wipes out very easily when it's bisque dust too. It's very difficult to say, bisque dust. Bisque dust is easy to clean. I'm going to make sure all my dust is off of there and it's tidy. And this edge is messy. I want it to be, yes, you guessed it, tidy. And I'm going to sponge that. Now this is a great casserole. I was looking at it as a sample of what you miss when you think something's tidy. So now it's all tidy and it fits perfectly this way and this way and this way. It'll fit perfectly from now on. But also what I really want to show you is why I really, let's get all this dust on here. I got paper on there. Get rid of that. And this is terrible. This is just awful. I don't know what I was doing. I was leaving it there so I could show you a video on how to tidy. Believe that, don't you? Mr. Clay believes. Anyway, I'm going to just make that, it's just too messy. Got bumps on there. Make sure at this stage, before it goes in the kiln, that it is tidy. This one is a real mess. And it's got big chunky there. And then I'm going to tidy up the bottom. When you grind with all this stuff, they're just fine and it gets kind of in the way. I get a messy bit there. That's just going to go away. And I'm going to moisten like I always do and sign it. Now this casserole is ready for the kiln. The lid fits, it's all tidy, and the next time you see it, it will be bisqued and we'll glaze it and we'll take it to the next chapter in the adventure of the casserole.